FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and well, I just got back from a mine tour, and I was in Nevada, in northern Nevada, western Nevada, and boy, it was cold. It went down to 10 degrees in the morning, and me being in Florida for the past 7 years, I forgot what winter was. But the person you're about to hear from, well, I don't know anything about weather. He's overcome challenges that no normal person, no regular person in the lower 48 has ever had to contend with. I'm talking about Jim Gowans. Jim, you're president, CEO of Trilogy Metals, and we've worked with you guys for a while now. Hey, if you're interested in Trilogy Metals, check them out at trilogymetals.com, and their New York Stock Exchange ticker is TMQ. So Jim, you've completed 6 mines. You've operated mines. I mean, prior to coming on board at Trilogy, you were the president and CEO of Arizona Mining from 16 to 18. And then you were instrumental in the purchase by South 32, bringing that about. Before that, I mean, you have a storied history, working with Barrick, doing so much in this space here, but you always wind up, it seems that you become boots on the ground here.
I think so. My history goes back, ironically, when I was involved in, I went, it was a big joke in Cominco because I went, Cominco, we always had to work in the northern group, the mines. We had Pine Point and the Con gold mine in Yellowknife, and so I started my career in Kimberley, where the Sullivan mine was. And you go north, and you figure you're going to be up there for a couple of years. And I ended up 17. Everybody else got transferred north and south. I just got transferred around the Arctic. I went from the Con gold mine in Yellowknife onto the feasibility study for Polaris, which was east of the magnetic North Pole and north of the Northwest Passage. And then they transferred me to Yellowknife and then on to the Red Dog project, which was a mine up in Northwest Alaska. So it was, 17 years of just going around the Arctic. So I know what the Arctic's like, I have to admit.
And that's why you're perfectly suited to run Trilogy here. Just as an aside, what is it about mining and working in these remote outer locations that kept you involved all these years while others were going to sunnier climates like Nevada and like South America, Peru, wherever it is, but you're always in the Arctic Circle? Well,
I've done my share of Nevada. One of the other mines I was involved in was for the Cortez Pipeline project
sure.
When I was with Placer Dome, and I've worked in the tropics as well. I was the COO for Inco's big nickel operation in Indonesia for a little over 4 years. So I've kind of done the hot spots as well as the cold spots. I guess the challenge for me has always been the technical challenges and the people challenges, which always been a fascination for me. What it takes to develop and operate a mine. So that's why I've kind of been, half my career has been in building mines, and the other half has been operating mines or operating companies. So I guess you need the people, and you have to understand the technology that goes into developing a mine in some of these challenging environmental areas. So
yeah. So what is for the current project here for Trilogy in the Ambler District there, what is the biggest challenge you're facing?
Well, the biggest challenge there is, the Ambler Mining District's been well known. When I was involved in feasibility and actually building and operating Red Dog, the bornite deposit had already been discovered. It probably was discovered almost 20 years before that. So we knew that the bornite deposit was there, and I think even the Arctic deposit was, no, maybe not to the extent it is the size now, but it certainly was discovered. The problem there was I call them stranded assets. The Ambler Mining District is a fantastic mining area. It's a BMS area, which volcanicastic massive sulfides, which is a type like around Flint Lawn mines and some various other places around the world, where you find the massive sulfides that contain nickel and zinc and lead and copper. And but that was always, how do you get it out of there? And it was a challenging area for Red Dog. We only had shipping season for 3 months, so we had to build port and storage facilities for over 10 months of storage. And the big breakthrough when I got involved in Trilogy with Rick Van Nieuwenhuis, and to get back to my roots and be involved with the Nana Native organization again, which I'd spent 6 years with Red Dog with them, was the fact that this was the big breakthrough for the Trilogy and the Ambler Mining District was the getting access out. They managed to get ADA, which is an infrastructure organization for the state of Alaska, to build a road from the Dalton Highway, which goes up to which services the North Slope oil and gas fields. And we can run a road from there west to the Ambler District and then take the concentrates out. The big advantage of going east to the Dalton and then down to Anchorage to ship out of Anchorage is you got a ice-free port, as opposed to taking it west over the mountains, and through much greater wetlands. It's much more challenging environmentally. And after you do that, to get to the north of the Bering Strait, you still have the issue of ice for more than half of the season. So the big breakthrough has been getting the transportation corridor process going, and it looks like we'll get it permitted at some point in the new year, and then that'll be built, and that opens up the area for all the mines and prospects that are known in the Ambler District, as well as the ones that haven't been explored for yet.
Which there's a lot more besides the Ambler District, but obviously that's the one that's best known right now. As far as getting that road built, what was it? I think you did your environmental impact statement. I don't remember if it was the DICE or I think it's the draft environmental impact statement. Now it's in the comment period. So the lead agency on the road is the ADA, which is the Alaska Industrial Development Expert Agency, yeah. And they actually finance the road and port facilities at Red Dog. So they are responsible for building a lot of the infrastructure in Alaska, and they pushed the permitting through. It's taken over 5 years. We've obviously partnered with them, but they this just open up the Ambler District. It's a benefit for Trilogy, but it'd be also a benefit for anybody else that's got projects, exploration prospects in that area as well. And it's a rather interesting finance mechanism that they're going to use for this, where effectively you're going to pay a toll on the road for every truck that goes through, and that's how they're going to repay the bonds that are issued by that authority. And eventually, once the bonds are paid off, it'll become a major moneymaker for the state.
Yeah, so that was the arrangement that we set up with when we did Red Dog, and they still make money off the tolling structure at Red Dog. So they still get cash flow 30 years after the mine was started up and operating. So that's been a great benefit for the people of Alaska, because ADA also builds clinics in some of the small communities and stuff, and they have that ability to get the money from things like the Red Dog mine or the Ambler District. Ambler Mining District toll road. So we'll do a tolling. So our trucks are zinc and precious metals and copper concentrates that go out and then out to the Dalton Highway and then down. We'll pay a tolling fee for that, and that pays off the bonds and whatever else, what other mechanism they use to do the initial financing for the road.
Yeah, interesting. So once the road's approved, how long will it take to push that through?
The schedule that I've seen is probably about 3 years. It goes through three stages, actually. So once they get the permits in, they get the record of decision. They got to do the detailed engineering and secure the financing, which would take better part of half a year or more. And then they would start a pioneer road over the next year or so, and then. But all the winter, they'd have to go over the crossings over the rivers. That would be winter crossings over the ice, similar to what you see the ice roads up in the Northwest Territories.
Right, ice road truckers.
And then they would have they put the bridges in the second year or third year, started the third year, and they would widen the road. So you get a pioneer road first, and then you get the widening of the road and the bridges, and then they get the final surfacing and widening so that you can have the trucks. And it's going to be a private facility because the native villages don't want public transportation in that, and it's private money essentially that will be paying off the bonds once the ADA does the financing. So that's why it'll be a private road.
Yeah, and I get it, interesting. So everything takes time, but there's a process, and you're going through the process, and you're really familiar with it. You've done it before. You know how this stuff works. Hey, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what was there in the Ambler Mining District. I know the name of the company is Trilogy Metals. I was kidding with Pat Donnelly, the VP. I said it really should have been called Pentametals because you've got 5 metals there, right?
That is correct. Yeah, you are right. The big revenue generator is copper, but we also have a lot of zinc. We have lead, and we have high levels of precious metals, gold and silver in the concentrates. They come with the base metals. So you're right. You got five major metals. Actually, there's 6 if we start to bring in the second deposit, bornite, which has cobalt as well. So, but that's further down the road. The first deposit, the Arctic deposit's got five metals.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. So the other deposit, hey, one deposit at a time. This is so vast, though. This is you can't even appreciate the scale of it. It's really vast.
Yeah, I think it's good for Alaska. Alaska's revenues from the oil and gas on the North Slope has dropped over the years, and they have been making off of Red Dog as well. But they need more resource development projects to continue to provide funds into the coffers of the state to fund the development and pay for things like education and health services and the like. So this is opening up the Ambler District for the benefit of Trilogy and other deposits is very good for the state.
Yeah, not to mention the employment situation there as well.
Yeah, the employment situation is critical. I mean, when we started up Red Dog, we started up with about 60% of NANA local people, and through training programs and developed that. And Teck has, to their credit, has stayed in about that ratio over the last 30 years. But that more than half of your, almost about 60% of your workforce is local, and we've been able to do that with our exploration crews, anywhere from 50 to 7. I think this summer was 70% local employment, and that's for those communities that have subsistence. All of a sudden you've got access to a road that can bring in supplies that are much cheaper, and it provides them with training and employment opportunities. It's a very good thing for the people of the Nana region and also the Doyon Athabascan region.
Yeah, so they really do get a major benefit, work, infrastructure, all these things that come as a result of it. Hey, you when you were CEO, president of your last company, Arizona Mining, you wound up selling them off to South 32 in a really profitable transaction. Now, South 32 is the major driving force investor behind Trilogy. What's the status of the relationship there?
Oh, it's a good relationship. We had a good relationship with South 32. They came in through a placement in Arizona when we needed some money to do the feasibility study, and they were looking to move into the base metals in a lot bigger way, particularly in focusing in on North America. And they were with Arizona. The case was to replace the lead and zinc that they were producing from Cannington, which is a mine in Queensland. And Arizona Mining, the Taylor deposit would do that. So we had a good working relationship with them from their initial investment and right up until the point where they purchased it. And Trilogy has through Rick and now with myself, that good relationship continues. We meet with them in terms of doing the homework for the joint venture. We have South 32 people in our office almost every week, and so we have a good working relationship, and it's very beneficial for the shareholders of Trilogy to know that there's a big company. It's hard, much more difficult to get the financing if you're a junior company than a company that has lots of cash flow and has a market cap of about $10 billion. So sure. It's good, and so we have a good relationship, and it's working well.
And they've already put, I believe, $30 million into the company, and there's a major date coming up, January of 2020.
So the JV agreement they had an option clause in it that they had up to 3 years to exercise the option, but if for every year that they didn't exercise the option, they could put it off in exchange for putting in about $10 million for exploration, which they did. So they've done the 3 years, put in the $30 million, and we've been able to drill out the Arctic deposit, also some sunshine, and also the bornite deposits. So we've done a lot of exploration work so it's mutually beneficial for the two companies. At the end of January, they have to exercise their option, which if they do that, I don't see why they wouldn't. It's a great deal for them. We would set up a joint venture, a 50-50 joint venture company. They would put in $150 million, and then we would use that to permit the first mine and to do any extra metallurgical test work or infill drilling to get to a measure. So we have proven reserves and the like.
Oh, so we're getting close there. So it's January of 2020. That's when decision date's going to be made. Obviously, we don't know what they're going to do for sure, but it's looking highly positive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the end. At the end of January, they can make the decision before that, but it's at the end of January they have to make the decision. So
conceivably, this could be a major catalyst for the company, and we could really see things take off once it happens, if it's in the affirmative.
You're very correct. There's two catalysts coming up, after all the hard work for the last, half a dozen years. All of a sudden you get two catalysts coming down fairly quickly, and sometime in the new year, we would anticipate the BLM. They finished their public feedback period to finish off the EIS for the road. Mm-hmm. So they incorporate all the comments, and we'll be able to produce that. And that should happen sometime in the new year. And then you have the investment decision of South 32 making as a second catalyst. There's actually one more catalyst, which is we're going through the feasibility study for the Arctic deposit as well, and that's going to be finished sometime in Q1 of 2020 as well. So. Oh. Three big catalysts all of a sudden coming down in the near future.
And I think it's important to emphasize that even if for some reason South 32 decided not to exercise their option, what you've got there now is of such value that it's not going to be left wanting.
No, that's correct. The the key catalyst is the road, getting the road in, and you've got two major copper, base metal deposits. So whether it's South 32 or Trilogy and another partner, they will be developed.
Yeah, it's getting developed. Regardless, obviously, it's very convenient with South 32. You've got an ongoing relationship. You know them from Arizona, and you know them for quite a while. So this is a very comfortable relationship. And
it's a comfortable relationship. They have good exploration people. They've got good technical people to help support us. That was certainly the case at Arizona Mining, and it's basically the same people that I've dealt with at Arizona Mining that I see on a frequent basis in meetings with them and on Trilogy.
Yeah, so you can't tell us anything, and we're not asking, but obviously the conditions are favorable, and we'll just leave it at that. So, what's next for you after this project? Are you gonna stick around, or is this just in your blood and you're gonna keep going?
Well, I think I'm only the interim CEO. We've started a process to bring in another CEO to replace Rick. Rick's still involved. He's focusing all his time on the permitting of the road and getting that over the line. And then we'll make sure that we have a good, strong CEO to take Trilogy in the future. And I will step back I'll still be involved, but as a director on their board.
Well, it's quite clear, Jim, that Trilogy could not have a better person than you in charge of things at this point, bringing it all together. We're really excited. We want to see what happens come January, and when the road permit goes through. It just seems like that Trilogy is a company whose time has come. The Ambler District is a district whose time has come, and well, it seems really exciting.
It is. It's very exciting. And I guess that's the reason why I wanted to be involved. When Rick asked me if I was keen to be involved, I said, sure, I would do that. This particular company is more like an emotional connection for me because of their relationship with Alaska and the Nana Native organization, which are a terrific Native group.
All right, Jim. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Can't thank you enough for taking time from your busy day to talk with us. Again, guys, the company Trilogy Metals, trilogymetals.com. They're on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol TMQ. And Jim, good luck. Hey, by the way, any questions or comments for Jim or myself? What do you think about Trilogy's prospects moving forward? Just email me, kl@kerrylutz.com, and go over to trilogymetals.com. Sign up for their newsletter so you can find out the latest developments of what is going to be an amazing world-class Tier 1 mine and Tier 1 mining district. Jim, really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.